This is very important to know if you're running price tests with Intelligems. As you can see, we have those current test results, this data. But now if I refresh the page, let's see what happens. Now we have conversion rate of -3%. Revenue per visitor is down. As you can see, it's a complete different picture. The reason being that we have a filter that is being applied by default by Intelligems, and you can change that in the filters. If I click in here and then in the drop down filter orders by product, you can either set the view of your data to all orders, include orders regardless of their contents, or you can exclusively see the data of the products you're including in the test. And this is what's happening here. We're only seeing the results of this test for the specific 8 bestsellers, which means that any order that doesn't have any of those bestsellers is excluded of this data. But the thing is, maybe the price increase is lowering conversion rate because people are buying less of those 8 products, even though the AOV is slightly higher, because obviously we have increased the price of the product. That gives us a revenue per visitor of -1% because it factors in AOV and conversion rate. But the price increase we can have on the bestsellers can have consequences on other products, and it can influence users' behaviors on your website. For example, maybe those products will now appear a bit too expensive to some people, and it will create some anchor effect, which will push people to buy maybe bundles, or will push them to buy other products that are maybe a bit cheaper, and they will increase quantities. You can have a plethora of different behaviors for people. And so what you can do is go in filters, and then you want to click on all orders, and you can set this as default. So every time you come back on your test, you can see this data. I'm gonna tick this, doesn't want to, don't know why, but let's do this. Let's refresh. Or you can just click on the arrow here. So now we're seeing the full big picture of the test. As you can see, the revenue is different. The number of visitors is the same, but obviously we have more orders and more revenue in the test. So that is the first thing I wanted to show you, because this is very important, because maybe you will launch a test, you will increase or decrease the prices of your bestsellers or some product groups, and you realize that the test may be winning, but if you look at the big picture, maybe that will be detrimental to the big picture on your store, and maybe you will lose some points of revenue per visitor and or profit per visitor because of those. So this is, I think, a very good example, and this is the first price test that I'm running. I'm usually doing content tests for all of my clients, but for this one we wanted to start testing price. And so this is literally the first one I'm doing. So I wanted to share a few insights that I learned from doing it, and also communicating with Intelligems team, which have been very, very helpful. I'm going to show you a few of the insights that I learned. So this is the first thing. And as you can see now, we have a complete different picture, and it's the point we have here. I encourage you, whether you do content test or price test or any other test you do, to have a look at the trend, and you can narrow down by conversion rate, revenue per visitor, profit per visitor, AOV, etc. What you want to look at is there consistency since the beginning of the test, or are there many inflection points, which mean that the blue line and the orange line are crossing a few times, which in some case it happens. I've had for a few clients, sometimes we run tests and we have the blue line crossing, being at the top and then going down and then going back at the top. So for those tests, usually you need more data to see if there is a clear trend. But from what I've seen, most of the time when there are many inflection points, at the end, if you run the test for long enough, usually you end up with a break-even test. However, when you have clear trends since the beginning, you can keep the test running for a long time, and you will see that the trend is always pretty much consistent. This one, I launched the test on Monday, and we're Thursday now, so it's been 4 days. But the test has been pretty consistent. When I look at it without the filter, looking exclusively at the products of the test, it has been pretty much all the time plus 4% revenue per visitor increase, which for this brand will result in a plus 150,000 euros increase monthly. So yeah, just wanted to let you know that trend consistency, in my opinion, is more important than test results, because you can open Intelligems at some point and see plus 8% RPV. First, that might not be statistically significant. Like, this test is statistically significant, like if we look at the number of orders and even the number of visitors. But yeah, first thing, it may not be statistically significant. And second, it can be at some point where the orange line is up, but then if you look at it the next day, it may be down under the control version. So look at your trends and see if you have many inflection points. Obviously, I'm looking at it on cumulative, because if you remove that, there is a lot more fluctuation, but we want to see the compounding effect of the data on those lines, on those trends. So we've seen this, we've seen trend consistency. I'd like to say also that you need to do a thorough QA before you launch the test, because we realized when we were about to launch the test with Intelligems team that prices appear in many different places on the website. The main places obviously are on the homepage, collection page, product page, your cart, but you have to be very careful. Sometimes it can appear many times on your product page, like if you have a slide cart or things like that. You can have your products in the cart as upsells. So make sure that you go through this document from Intelligems. I can attach this link to the description in the video, but basically you want to go through their checklist, price test QA checklist. At the beginning, it's really about the basic setup, JavaScript and all this, but then it's about looking at the price tagging on your homepage, collection page, search bar, search results, like everywhere where potentially your prices can appear next to the product. Okay, that said, I'd like to say that I asked their team if it is possible to run price tests for different markets, because right now this store is primarily selling in euro. This is our default currency, and right now we wanted to test in USD, because obviously with tariffs and etc. Like I won't get too much into this, but we wanted to see if the market in the US reacts well to an increase in prices. And so I only selected 8 bestsellers, because those are responsible for a huge percentage of sales for the store. And so yeah, this was the hypothesis. If we test a higher price point, it should increase AOV, and if conversion rate doesn't move too much, then we should have a higher revenue per visitor. And it turns out that when we have a filter with only the targeted product, that is not the case, but when we look at the big picture, that's the case. And I asked them, is it possible that we run this price test in USD, and then we have another price test being run in Canadian dollar, in Australian dollar, in euro, in GBP, in other currencies? They said yes, under the condition that you're under the blue plan from Intelligems, which is the case for us. And so this is what I'm going to do for the next price test. I'm going to run variations for the store of this test in those different markets and see how it's reacting. And also, I don't think I put it here, but there is something that's pretty interesting, which are not to be mistaken with the test groups that we have in modification, which I'm going to show you in an instant. But in filters, there is the possibility to filter by product groups. But to do this, you need to add a CSV when you're launching the test and mention how you want to group products in the CSV directly. And this can help you have a more granular view on how each product or each product groups are impacted by the test. Because then maybe some of your products will see increases in revenue per visitor, and some others will see a decrease. And so that may give you some useful information on how to adapt prices on your store. So just to sum this up, it is possible to do multiple price tests at the same time for different markets. This is pretty cool, I think, because we'll save a lot of time with this. The last thing that I want to show you, and I'm just going to pause for an instant, and the last thing I want to show you is this: be careful when setting up prices in a non-default currency. So I just created this new test, which I call test, and I added this product, and as you can see, we have the price, we have the compared at price, and this is a new price we're supposed to set. As you can see, this is in euro. It is our default currency for the store. Now the thing is, if I change the currency to, let's say, GBP, for example, and I save, we can see that prices here have updated, but in pounds. But the thing is, with this store, and I think with many of you guys, if you use Shopify markets, you have different prices for your products on different markets. And so maybe this product is 350 in pounds and not 399 like it is in euro. And so this is not being updated directly. I think it's just because most customers of Intelligems are using CSV, so they're updating directly everything like this. But if you're updating, if you have a few SKUs on your website and you're just doing everything manually, maybe if you have under 10 products and you're doing it in different markets, then you want to be careful that the prices must be changed manually here. Otherwise, you have to, I can show you here, there are 3 ways that you can set the test price, either by uploading a spreadsheet, or you can use the quick fill option, or manually set the price. And what I'm showing you here is when you manually set the prices. So keep this in mind. Always verify your prices that they actually correspond to what you have on your store right now. So those were 2, 3, 4, 5 things I wanted to show you. And here is an advice from Ethan from Intelligems. He said, for your first price test, start testing broadly. For example, add all product responsible for 80% of your total sales. This is the 80-20% rule, Pareto. You can use the product groups feature to look at the data on a product grouping level or SKU by SKU level to see where there might be the most room to decrease product prices profitably. So I will leave you with this, and just want to say that there is no affiliation with Intelligems for this video. It's just I'm using their platform. I am partnered with them with my client, but I am not trying to sell you anything in this video. I am just showing you this as educational purpose, and I hope this can help you and so also give you a better understanding of some of the features, because I think it's a really good software. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.